lose yourself in a good book. The Bord Gáis Energy Book Club.
Red Sky in Mourning by Paul Lynch is our book club choice for August, a critically acclaimed debut novel. It follows Col Coyle as he escapes a crime in Donegal, only to meet with further tragedy when he reaches his destination of Pennsylvania. Based on real historical events, it has been described as a landmark piece of fiction. But what did the Under the Table book clubs think of it? We travelled to Kilkenny to find out. Let's take a look.
The book club is called Under the Table, and it's based in Cahn's Bookshop in James's Street in Kilkenny, and it's actually only formed on the 1st of January 2013. We have 68 members and we meet the first Monday of every month. This month's book choice is Red Sky in Mourning by Paul Lynch, and it's actually a first novel for Paul Lynch.
Before I started reading it, I liked the cover. I read the back, and the fact that he's a film critic, I kind of, I wonder what's going to be happening here, what type of book it's going to be. Yeah, no, I was intrigued, yeah.
It starts off in Ireland, and there's a murder committed by the main character called Kyle. He kills this man called Hamilton, who's the son of the local landlord, and the landlord's manager, Fowler, makes a vow to go and follow Kyle to the ends of the earth to try and catch him for the murder.
You could nearly follow Fowler's footsteps through the author's description. You could nearly set off and head up, start in Donegal and head up and get on that ship and nearly follow his whole path through America and everything. It was that descriptive. You could nearly follow it foot by foot. So I mean, that's talent. That's an amazing thing in the book.
The character of Col Kyle, at the start, it's kind of difficult to make out what he's going to be like. But slowly as the book moves on, he becomes more and more likeable with the friendships that he makes, and you know that he's a good friend, and that he's not going to let somebody down. And even throughout the book, towards the end, like when everyone was dying around him in Duffy's cut, with the cholera or whatever it was, and his best friend got the cholera, and he couldn't get out of the cut, right? This was his last. He knew this was going to be his last few hours, but still he went back and buried his friend, So he knew this is a good man, and he has good characteristics about him, Even though he's rough and ready, he does have those good characteristics.
One thing that maybe stood out, and you notice it at the very beginning of the book, is his love for his child and his wife and his unborn child. From the very beginning of the book and throughout, you're completely aware of this love that he has for his family, and it's really nice to see that,
I think the book was well written. I thought the language was a bit dense and over-descriptive, but I thought the descriptions of the famine ships, I thought the description of the hardship in it was absolutely excellent, and actually I liked it more when I'd finished reading it, because I could visualise the descriptions very well.
An excessive amount of language showing you the great attempt to conjure up the 19th century and the American scene and the horror of the Irish eviction world, and then the horror of the American building of the railroads, and the characters then in between. The opposite then would be that the character of Col, you are meant to sympathise with him. I'm not sure you have enough sympathy left after you have gone through this great rush of language.
I didn't really like the book. It wasn't the kind of book I'd usually read. Just the writing style that he used. There were no quotation marks, so all the sentences just kind of ran together. Couldn't tell who was speaking a lot of the time. And I missed kind of key details in the plot because I just didn't understand what was going on a lot of the time. The symbolism that he used was kind of the high point of the book for me. The use of the ribbon symbolises family, and him holding on to his family was kind of, I liked that bit. That's kind of all I liked.
It's very, very, very descriptive, okay? And for me personally, I felt it's nearly too descriptive for a going to bed, a nighttime read, because your mind is in overdrive, and you're not just seeing the setting, but you're nearly imagining I personally was imagining how I'd make the setting. There's a fantastic story going out through the book, but it's nearly drowned out by the descriptions.
I would definitely read another novel by Paul Lynch. I think it's wonderful to see a young Irish writer doing so well.
I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed the book. Now, as we just mentioned, this month's book club choice is Red Sky Morning by Paul Lynch. If you would like to be in with the chance of winning a 16-gig Versus tablet and a book club goodie bag, then send your reviews into us. Reviews should be no longer than a mere 50 words and should reach us by Friday the 23rd of August. They should be emailed to irelandam at tv3.ie or sent by post to Bord Gáis Energy Book Club, TV3 Westgate Business Park, Ballymount, Dublin 24.
Lose yourself in a good book. The Bord Gáis Energy Book Club.